So how many credit cards should you have? Well, everybody has their own philosophy and everybody has their own belief system. It's going to come down to what you feel comfortable with. It's going to come down to what you can manage. That's really what I want to say. Everybody's situation is different. So for me to say you should have 3 cards or you should have 5 cards, I think that'd be incorrect because everybody's in a different situation. Some people just use credit cards very sparingly. They don't need many. Some people use it to build a business with. They need a lot. Okay. So, and it just comes down to what you feel comfortable with. I mean, let me just put it this way. I don't advocate people being irresponsible with finances. I don't advocate people being fraudsters and ringing up credit cards and no intention of paying them. I don't want you to believe that because that's not what I believe. Okay. What I do believe is that credit is an amazing weapon that you can use to build a business with if you're responsible and knowledgeable about what you're doing, if you have an end game in hand. And so I'm a big believer in credit cards, right? If you look at the wealthy of the wealthy, what are they doing? They're spending other people's money to make their own wealth. That's really what they're doing. They're getting credit lines, they're going to banks and taking their money to purchase a home, to rent it out, and have somebody else pay their mortgage to pay the bank, and now they have an asset that appreciates, right? Or people start an online drop shipping company or Amazon business or consultancy, all that, right? You're using other people's money. So it's really helpful because it takes time to accumulate this wealth. And when you have somebody saying, hey, I'll help you with that, I'll pay for it, and you don't even have to pay me back for 12 months interest free, it makes a lot of sense. So how many credit cards you should have is based on your situation. I recommend when everybody's getting started to get 2 to 3, okay? And here's the thing. When you're starting off your credit journey, you don't want to have a ton. And this is why. Well, you can do 2 ways. You can have a ton and take the short-term consequences, right? That's what I did, okay? So when I started my credit journey, I got a bunch of cards at once. And the reason why I did that is I knew that I would be denied a lot, but I figured if I could slam in 8 to 10 cards within 2 years, that those cards are going to age appropriately at the same time. So after 2 years, it's not they're all aging at the same time frame. Okay, because here's the problem: if you start opening card, you're really never accumulating your age of length in your cards. That's one of the things in your credit report or your credit score is your age of accounts. And what they do is they take the total amount of cards and they divide it by the number of cards you have, and that's your total. Like for example, you have a 5-year card, a 1-month card, a 1-month card, a 1-month card. Well, your average is going to be really low, right? So I recommend you either be very conservative or be very liberal, but don't be in the middle with it. Okay? Have a game plan with it. If you want to be conservative with it and just pick a couple cards that you can be happy with for the next 2 years or a year or so, that's awesome. Okay? Or if you want to be aggressive like me and understand your end game, then go all out and get all the cards that you can get, but know what cards you're going to get and know how to get those cards so that way you're not getting denied and all types of stuff. So it just comes down to your philosophy. It also comes down to how much debt, how much credit you're comfortable having. You know your limits. You know what you can handle. You know what you can't handle. It's like an alcoholic. They know if they can have a margarita, they can't have a margarita. Like one margarita can turn into 10 margaritas, right? So it's just like, what do you feel comfortable with? Okay, I think that comes down to that as well. I think another thing that comes down to it is, what are you trying to do with the cards? Are you trying to move money around? That's something that you have to consider too. But there's not, like, if you have 20 credit cards, you're not going to get penalized for having 20 credit cards. Credit unions can look down on it, okay? But there's nothing wrong with having 20 credit cards. If you want to have 10 credit cards, you have 10 credit cards. I mean, it's not the number that you have. It's what is your age of credit length? What type of credit limit do you need? All these type of things come into play. Now, here's one reason why I advocate, I can't even talk today, having a lot of cards. Let's say American Express doesn't like what you're spending on or thinks that you're being too aggressive in your spending and immediately reduce your credit limit from $20,000 I'm gonna tell you a real example. I had a credit card with American Express. I had a $30,000 limit. Never really used it. Used it a couple times, big purchases, and then bam, they brought my credit limit down from 30,000 to 6,000 overnight, and it was just a fraud protection thing, just in case. And they're like, yeah, well, you just haven't used the card. Use these big purchases. It triggered the algorithm, and so those type of things can happen, right? And what happens to your business when you have a $30,000 card and they slash it to $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000? That could be a game changer for you. Okay, so if you don't diversify is going to save your tail, because that means you can work with other companies, right? And thank God I diversified, because it didn't even affect me, right? It affected them because I'm not using their card as much, right? And I love American Express, but I mean, American Express runs a lot off algorithms. And they're smart algorithms, and they just do what they want. But I love American Express. I have American Express, but I'm just giving you an example that for whatever reason, if a company decides to change their policies, or they don't like your spending habits, or you may be racking up too high on a utilization, and they start restricting your because they're not entitled to do anything for you. They could close your card, they could cut your limit, they could do whatever they want to do. So it's really important that you're diversifying and getting new credits, because if you're not doing that, then you never want to be in a situation where you're reactive ever in life. Do you want to be reactive? You want to be proactive. You want to be one step ahead. You want to be one step ahead of the banks, right? So when it comes down to how many credit cards you should get, there's just a lot of factors. You need to write out, what do I want to do? What's important to me? 0%? Do I want travel cards? Do I want to build it out? I mean, also, like, for example, some lenders won't even give you a card if you've had so many cards opened in so many months. For example, Chase. Okay, so Chase has got you can only have 5 and 24. They have the 5/24 rule, where you can have 5 cards open across all credit card companies, 5 credit cards within 24 months. If you have any more than that, you're gonna get denied. Okay. So Chase is fickle like that. There's other companies that have different things, right? A lot of companies don't want to see all these accounts being open, because it's a red flag for them, understandably so. So anyways, that's my opinion on how many credit cards you should have. It all depends on you, what you're trying to do, what you feel comfortable doing. Don't let anybody tell you there's a guaranteed answer, because there's not. Okay? But the bottom line is, you want to diversify and you want to be proactive and not retroactive. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and comment below how many credit cards you have. I'd love to see the answers in the thread below.